Hello everyone and welcome to Anytime Yoga. Today we're going to be focusing on a new UPA, Universal Principle of Alignment, and it's adding on to the first one that we learned. So we learned about Open to Grace, and then stacking on top of that is a UPA called Muscle Energy. Open to Grace and Muscle Energy are the two UPAs that I will cue the most in our practice. And so I'm excited to share what muscle energy is and how you can make that a focal point during your practice. Muscle energy is this idea that we're activating our muscles in order to protect our joints, protect our body, and to come into proper alignment within a pose. And so there's a couple things to think about as you're in a pose that helps you focus on your muscle energy. One of those are surface to core lines. So you want to think that you're going skin to muscle to bone. So as you're in your pose, we're not just hanging out in Warrior Two arms. Instead, we're getting strong from skin to muscle to bones, really activating through those muscles. And that's where you can pair it nicely with Open to Grace, is once you have your foundation set through Open to Grace, then you're transitioning to, okay, what muscles do I need to activate? What muscles do I need to engage to keep me safe in this pose and to have proper alignment? And then what muscles do I not need to engage? Where can I soften? Soften from those outer to inner. So it's this intermingling of Open to Grace and muscle energy. So some of the language you'll hear me say is activate, engage your muscles, hug into midline. So your midline, think of like your collarbones down to your pelvic floor. We're hugging in, getting strong. Remember that balloon breath. You're also drawing your arms, your legs, your neck into your midline. So as you reach out and extend out, then you're hugging back in. So shoulder blades on your spine, that's hugging back into your midline, really activating through your core, through your pelvic floor, all the way down to your toes. Another way to think about it is drawing your hands, feet, head to a focal point. I won't talk about focal point as much, but there's three main focal points in your body. The upper palate, the upper back of your mouth, kind of thinking the crown of your head but within your head, your heart center, and the core of your pelvis. So when you're in a pose, which of those focal points are part of that pose? And then draw into it. So surface to core lines, activating and engaged, hugging skin to muscle to bone, and it helps with stability. It helps note where should I put my alignment. So I'm like in Warrior Two, where am I placing my knee, right? So if you're being mindful of your joints, if you're being mindful of where your feet are, how engaged you are into your foundation, that's going to help protect your body as you move through from pose to pose. So Open to Grace, transitioning into muscle energy. That's the direction you want to be thinking as you transition from pose to pose and as we work toward our peak pose. Okay, just a little introduction to muscle energy. Let's begin our practice today. Go ahead and find a comfortable seated pose, either kneeling over a block or seated cross-legged. Root down into your foundation, get strong through your core, long through your spine, shining bright through the crown of your head, palms down for more groundedness or up for more openness. Close your eyes or lower your gaze and begin to notice your breath. Invite your breath past your throat, past your heart, deep down into your belly. Letting your belly expand and contract with each inhalation and exhalation. You can also place your left hand over your heart and your right hand over your belly to feel your breath expanding and contracting. Take this time to check in with your heart, your mind, and your body. Be curious about your emotions, your feelings, without judgment. Acknowledge them. Send your breath to any parts of your body where you might feel discomfort or dis-ease. And notice where your thoughts are. With kindness, invite them back to your mat, back to this present moment. I invite you to set an intention, this practice, a word or a phrase you can return to whether you are on your mat or off your mat, moving into your day. On your next breath, inhale your hands above your head, meeting your palms together. Exhale your hands to your heart center. Let's begin our practice with one Om, joining our voices together. Take a deep inhale. Exhale HA. And inhale for Om. Gently release your hands, softly blink open your eyes, shrug your shoulders, turn your head side to side. Meeting back at center, bring your hands above your head, and exhale, twist over to your right, lengthening through your spine, turning your chin toward your shoulder, breathing deeply. And back to center. Exhale over to your left, second side. Breathing deeply. And back to center. Clasp your hands and sway over to your right, making a little crescent over to your right, keeping your sits bones rooted into your mat. And over to your left. Back to center. Exhale your hands to your heart. We're going to move into a seated triangle pose. So extend your left leg out to the side. Keep your right foot rooted into your inner left leg. Bring your left hand either to your mat or to your leg. Bring your right arm over your right ear and crescent over your left leg. You can even bring your left hand to the bottom of your foot or at your ankle. And rise up, second side. Extend your right leg this time. Bring your left foot into your inner right leg and extend your left arm over your left ear. Keep your toes engaged. Maybe keep a micro bend in your right knee so you don't hyperextend. And back to center. Go ahead and transition to tabletop pose. Use whatever props would feel best for you today. If I don't cue you, that's okay. Grab the props that you need and you'll begin to know which props are best for you in any given pose. So, open to grace, set your foundation. Root each finger and knuckle into your mat. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Flow through your variation of cat-cow. Begin to warm up your body, wake up your spine. Flow with your breath. At any point, come back to neutral, add a different variation to your warm-up. Maybe add even more movement into your cat-cow, sinking your hips back toward your heels. Take one more breath where you are, and then meet back in neutral spine tabletop. Bring your forearms down to your mat. We're going to do a little bit of shoulder mobility. Root down, shoulder blades on your spine. Lift your left elbow skyward. Extend through your left arm. Turn your gaze toward your fingertips. And then lower your forearm back down. Second side, right elbow skyward. Extend through your right arm. Turn your gaze toward your fingertips. Move back and forth, side to side, flowing with your breath 2 to 3 times on each side. One more time on each side. And then meet back in tabletop pose. Walk your spider fingers out in front of you, coming into puppy pose. Softening your heart toward your mat. Draw your lower ribs back toward your spine, and then soften your heart again. Inhale deeply. Rise up. Walk your spider fingers off your mat over to your right. Soften your heart into side puppy. Stay long through your side bodies. Back to center. And second side, walk your spider fingers over to your left. Soften your heart and stay long through your side bodies. Breathing deeply. And inhale back to center. Come back to tabletop pose. Grab your blocks. We're going to move through a similar flow as our last sequence. Have your blocks as high as you would like. Moving from bird dog to high knee. Root down into tabletop. Then extend your right arm out in front of you. Your left leg back behind you. Hug into midline. So here we are. Reaching out, extending out, activate your muscle energy. So get strong from skin to muscle to bone. Then hug back into midline. Then lower back down, second side. Left arm extends out. Right leg back. Extend out, activate through your core, through your arms. Then hug back in. And lower back down. Right side again, right arm extends, left leg back, Lower your right hand down. Bring your knee to your nose. Lower your left foot between your hands. Take as many steps as you need to get here. You can either rise up straight from your mat or bring your hands to your blocks for a little extra support. Lengthening your arms. Root down, get strong, and rise up into high knee. Bring your right knee high. Engage your toes. Strong core here. We're activating muscle energy through our legs, our core, our arms. And then step back. Trust your strength. Root down. Extend your leg back behind you. Let's do that again. Knee to nose. Root down. Rise up. High knee. This time, sit into temple. Bring your right ankle over your left knee. Sit back. Similar to sitting back into chair. Engage your toes. If you wobble or step out of this pose, that's okay. Step back in when you are ready. And rise up. High knee. Step back. Bird dog. One more time. Knee to nose. Root your foot between your hands. Rise all the way up to standing high knee. This time, tree pose. Bring your toes down either to your mat, by your ankle. Bus stop A. Bus stop B, bring your right foot to your calf. Bus stop C, bring your right foot all the way past your knee to your upper thigh, upper inner leg. You're really rooting your right foot into your left leg, rooting your left leg back into your right foot. This is where you really want to activate your muscle energy. Strong, strong, strong legs. Hug into your core. Shoulder blades on your spine. Then extend your arms skyward. Growing your branches. You can turn your gaze skyward or notice something in front of you. Keep your eye right on that dot. Maybe a book, maybe a painting. And exhale your hands to your heart. Gently release your leg back into high knee. And then step back. Tabletop pose. Nice work, everyone. Go ahead and offer your body a cat-cow before moving to second side. All right, let's do this. Second side, extend your left arm out in front of you, right leg back behind you. Bird dog. Extend out, activate your muscle energy, then hug back into your midline. Lower back down, right arm out, left leg back. Don't forget to breathe. And lower back down, left arm out, right leg back. Hug into midline. Lower your left hand, draw your right knee between your hands, or knee to nose. Place your right foot between your hands. Hug in, get strong to do second side high knee. Rise all the way up. Hands at heart center, high knee. Then step back. Root down. Extend your right leg back behind you. And then lower back into tabletop pose. Pause here and breathe. Extend your left arm out in front of you, right leg back again. Bird dog. Lower your left hand. Knee to nose, root your right foot between your hands. Root down, rise up, left knee high, high, high. This time temple pose. Set your left foot over your right knee. Engage your toes. Breathe deeply. If you wobble or topple out, that's okay. Gently step back into your pose when you are ready. And rise up, high knee, step back. Extend your right leg behind you. Last time, knee to nose, root your foot between your hands. Rise up, high knee, tree pose, second side. Bus stop A, foot at ankle, bus stop B, foot at calf, or bus stop C, foot into your upper leg. Hugging in, breathing deeply, and then extend your arms out into branches. You can choose what tree you'd like to be today. Continue to activate your muscle energy through your legs, through your core, shining bright through the crown of your head. And gently release your hands, release your leg into high knee, step back, meeting in tabletop pose. Set your blocks to the side. Walk your hands out in front of you, meet in modified plank, chaturanga. We're going to move through this 3 times. You can move along with me or at your own pace, choosing your variation of cobra. Shoulder blades on your spine, strong core. Lower with your elbows beside your ribs. Land chest, then hips, top of your feet rooting into your mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise back up, staying even through your core, and sink back into puppy pose. Move through this 2 more times, flowing with your breath. Inhale, forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower. Root down to rise up and sink back into puppy pose. Do this 1 more time, flowing with your breath. And meet back in puppy pose. Widen your knee stance, lowering your hips between your heels, coming onto the tops of your feet into child's pose. Arms can reach out in front of you or beside your legs, bringing your head to rest on a block or on your mat. Take 2 to 3 breaths. Inhale, rise up to tabletop. Set your props to the side. Coming into plank pose, lift your knees high, and then transition to downward facing dog. Lift your hips high, set your foundation, open to grace. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Get long through your shoulders, through your hips. Inhale your right leg high, 3-legged dog. Bring your knee to your nose. Take as many steps as you need to get your foot between your hands. Root down to rise up into crescent lunge. Flow through cactus arms. Breathing deeply. Inhale high. Open wide, twisting over to your right. And twist over to your left. Come back to center. Exhale your hands to your heart. Root down, get strong through your front leg, then rise up, high knee, and sit into temple. Left ankle over right knee. Engage your toes, draw them toward your shin. If you want to play with forward fold in temple, you can forward fold, bringing your elbows to your shin, your left shin. And inhale, rise up, and step back into crescent lunge. Exhale your hands down to your mat, step back, right foot high, 3-legged dog. Bend your lifted knee, open through your hips, scorpion dog. Keep your toes engaged. Lower your foot to your mat, chaturanga. Pause in downward facing dog or pause in child's pose, yogi's choice. You can follow along in chaturanga if you'd like. Inhale your chest forward, stay in plank or modified plank. Lower your chest down to your mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise back up through modified or regular plank and meet in downward facing dog. Second side, inhale your left leg high, three-legged dog. Bring your knee to nose, root down, rise up. Cactus arms. And inhale your hands high, exhale, open to your left and open to your right. Back to center, exhale your hands to your heart. Root down with your front leg, bring your right knee high, and then set into temple pose. Right ankle over left knee. Engage your toes, draw them toward your shin. And if you want to play with forward fold, bring your elbows to your shin. Breathing deeply. And rise all the way up. Step back, crescent lunge. And exhale your hands down to your mat. Step back, three-legged dog. Left leg high, even at your hips. Then bend your left knee. Open through your hips, scorpion dog. Lower your foot down to your mat, downward facing dog. Set your alignment. Hug in to midline. Then bend your knees as much as you need to. Look at the top of your mat. Hop or step to the top of your mat. Feet hip distance apart, forward fold. Folding your upper body over your lower body, grasping your elbows with your opposite hands, releasing your head and neck, nodding your head yes, shaking your head no, nodding your head yes again, maybe swaying side to side. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Then gently release your hands, grab your block out in front of you. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse your swan dive, rising slowly all the way to standing. Clasping your hands above your head, micro back bend. Come back to center, crescent to your right, crescent to your left, and back to center. Exhale your hands to your heart, to your hips, or to Tadasana, mountain pose, palms facing forward beside your hips. Notice your alignment. Feet are hip distance apart, parallel like train tracks. Draw your hips back. Close your eyes or lower your gaze and take a moment to return to your intention. Breathing deeply, offering your intention with kindness and self-compassion to yourself. Offering that same intention with kindness and compassion to those around you. Gently release your hands, softly blink open your eyes. Inhale your hands high, exhale, sit into chair. Notice your alignment, feet, legs are parallel like train tracks. Sit a little deeper, activate your muscle energy. Really get strong through your legs, through your pelvic floor, through your core, shoulder blades on your spine. Think shins in, knees wide, energetically. Sit a little deeper, trust your strength. And then twist to your left, bringing your right elbow to your outer left knee. Notice that your knees are still even. Come back to center, twist over to your right, left elbow to outer right knee. Back to center. Exhale, forward fold. Nice work. Release your head and neck. Nodding yes, shaking no, nodding yes again. And inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse your swan dive, rise all the way up to standing. Exhale, sit into chair pose. One more time. Sit deep. Trust your strength. And then rise all the way up to standing. Nice work. Come into wide angle pose. Point your toes toward the corners of the long edge of your mat. Root down, star pose. Reach your hands skyward. Strong legs, strong core, strong arms. Exhale, goddess pose. Bend your elbows, bend your knees. Lift and spread your toes. Continue to activate your muscle energy. Root down, then rise up on your tippy toes. Soften through your eyes, soften through your jaw. Notice where you can soften. And lower back down. Inhale, rise up, star pose. Exhale, sink down again, goddess pose. Rise up again. Point your toes toward the long edge of your mat. Exhale, wide angle forward fold. Bring your left hand to your right ankle for a side stretch. Back to center, right hand to left ankle. Back to center, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up vertebrae by vertebrae, rising up slowly all the way to standing. Hands beside your hips. Nice work. Heel toe your feet toward one another. Transitioning to Malasana and Skiers pose. Bring your blanket or towel or roll up the back of your mat behind your heels. Root into your foundation. Strong legs, strong core. Inhale your hands high. Exhale, sit back into Skiers pose. Best stop A. If this feels good to you, pause here. If you want to continue to Malasana squat, lower your hips between your heels, elbows between your knees. Move through a heart opener, lifting your left arm up and back. Back to center. Second side, right arm up and back. And back to center. Do that again on each side. Back to center. Take 2 breaths here in Malasana. Staying tall and long through your spine. At any point, transition back to Skiers pose or place a block behind your booty to lengthen through your spine even more. One more breath in Malasana. And gently remove your block and transition all the way down to your sits bones, setting any props to the side. All right, we're going to do a little bit of core. We're going to transition through plank pose. There's a couple of variations that I want you to know about so you can choose what's best for you in this moment. Whatever we do on the mat as our foundation for plank pose, whether we're in full plank or modified plank with knees on the mat, you can also do at the wall. So please choose what would be best for you on your mat, on the floor, or at the wall with your hands on the wall or a door. Make sure that wall or door is very strong, because you want a very firm foundation that's going to support you. All right, so root into your foundation, whether you're standing at the wall or starting in tabletop pose on your mat. Then you're going to step back a little bit into modified plank, shoulder blades on your spine. And this is where it's really important to activate your balloon breath, right? Pretend you're blowing up a balloon. Take a deep inhale and exhale, balloon breath. Feel how your core activates. That is what you want, hugging into midline, activating your muscle energy. Also pretend like you are energetically hugging your forearms toward one another. And then when you're in full plank, so lifting your knees off your mat, you want to energetically hug your mat between your hands and your feet. At any point, bring your knees back down to your mat. So root down, shoulder blades on your spine, hug in, whether you're at the wall or on your mat, modified or regular planks. Ready, set, go. Hug in, activate your muscle energy, legs, pelvic floor, core, shoulder blades on your spine. 3, 2, 1, and lower. Nice work. Sink your hips back toward your heels. Coming into puppy pose or child's pose. Another variation of plank pose that can feel good if you're being gentle to your wrists is doing plank pose on your elbows. So we can try that today. Rooting your forearms onto your mat. You can clasp your hands, tuck your pinky, root down, shoulder blades on your spine. Same idea as you're energetically hugging your elbows together. Step back into full or modified plank. Gaze is over your hands. So this is a great variation to give your wrists a break. Pause here and breathe. 3, 2, 1, lower down and meet back in puppy pose, child's pose. Nice work. We're going to move into side plank. Side plank is on our side, so you can do that either lengthening through your arm, on your hand, or on your forearms as well. When you're coming in to side plank, a couple modifications or variations for this is first you can put your feet on one another, so you're stacking your feet, rooting down. A nice place to start is if I'm on my right hip, I'm going to bring my left foot onto my right in front of my leg, my left foot in front of my right leg, kind of like a kickstand. So rooting down, I get strong through my core and I lift my hip. Lift my hips, bring my left hand to my left hip or extend it skyward, hugging in, really activating your muscle energy. At any point, you can then bring your left foot to stack on top of your right foot. Stay open through your heart and come back to your kickstand at any point. So let's do that together. Side plank, here we go. Root down on your forearm or on your hand. Full plank or kickstand plank. Root down, get strong, rise up. Trust your strength here. It's okay to shake, be a little wobbly if your body isn't used to this right now. 3, 2, 1, and lower back down. Nice work. Let's switch to our second side. Move to your forearm or your hand. Come into stacked or kickstand. 3, 2, 1, and rise up. Use your muscle energy to lift through your hip. Extend your right arm skyward. Turn your gaze toward your fingertips. Breathing deeply. Hug into midline. Activate your muscle energy. 3, 2, 1, and lower back down. Nice work, everyone. Take a moment, either sitting in child's pose, puppy pose, or grab a sip of water. Take 2 to 3 breaths where you are. And meet back, kneeling on your mat. Good work, everyone. Come to tabletop pose, root down, and rise up into plank pose, and then all the way up into downward facing dog. Breathe deeply. Inhale your right leg high, three-legged dog. Bring your knee to your nose, root your foot between your hands, and rise up into crescent lunge and transition to warrior two. Check your alignment. Notice what your feet are doing. Notice where your hips are at, your front knee. Root and set your foundation open to grace. Soften the boundaries in your body. And then activate your muscle energy from your feet through your core, shining bright through the crown of your head. Reverse your warrior. Side angle. Reverse your warrior. Side angle. Bring your left hand to your left hip. Full side angle. Extended side angle. Open through your heart. Extend your left arm skyward. If you'd like to play with bind, bring your left hand behind your back, right hand under your right leg. Clasp your hands or a strap between your hands. And play with bind. Root down. Take one more breath where you are. Then inhale, rise all the way up. Reverse your warrior or your triangle, extending through your front leg. Come back into warrior two arms. You can grab your block, have it beside your outer ankle of your right foot. Have a micro bend in your front knee. Draw your torso forward. Left hand to left hip. Right hand to your block. Open through your heart. Extend your left hand skyward into triangle pose. One more breath here. And inhale, rise up, reverse your triangle, and exhale into warrior two. We're going to pause here. I'm going to show you where we're headed next. We've reached our peak pose as we've been prepping for our peak pose of half moon. This is one of my favorite standing balance poses. So I'm going to show you first and then have you do it with me. For half moon, this is another great pose that have a variety of variations. You can do this bringing your hand to your mat, to your block, or being at the wall again. So utilize the wall, utilize a door, if that is going to be a best variation for you. So the first step is to come into warrior two. I like to have a block out in front of me. Rooting down, strong legs. I'm going to bring my right arm out into warrior two, left hand to my left hip. Walk my back foot forward. Lower my right hand down to my block. Root down. Get strong through my right leg, my core. Then lift my left leg skyward. Hug into core. The more you engage your muscle energy, the easier it will be to stay stable. Engage your back toes, pressing your lifted heel back. And then when you're ready, open through your heart. Lift your left arm skyward, extending it. And then if you really want to play, turn your gaze toward your fingertips. At any point, if you topple or fall out of this pose, that is okay. This is a moment to play, be playful. Then when you are ready, step out of this pose in the same way you came into the pose. Stepping back, trusting yourself, returning to warrior two. It can be nice to do a reverse warrior or triangle pose. And there you go. With variation at the wall, instead of bringing your right hand to your block, walk your back foot forward, bring your spider fingers to your wall. So pretend I have an imaginary wall here, fingertips to your wall, then lift your left leg. So that is another variation. Let's do this together. First side, go ahead and root into warrior two. Warrior two arms, left hand to left hip. Step your back foot forward, bring your right hand to your block or both hands, spider fingers to your wall. Lift your left leg high, getting strong through your core. Then lift your left leg high. Engage your toes, press your lifted heel back. And then extend with your arm. You can keep your hand at your hip, extend it skyward, or turn your gaze toward your fingertips. Yogi's choice, and play. Have fun trying this new pose out. Hug into your core, soften through your eyes, and when you are ready, step out of warrior two, or half moon, back into warrior two. Take a moment, breathing deeply. I'm going to give you another moment to play in half moon. So once you've stepped out, go ahead and play with it one more time. Let your child come out with this pose as you enjoy a new balance pose. Take a couple more breaths in half moon. Then step out of half moon, stepping back into warrior two. When you are ready, windmill your hands back down to your mat and step back in downward facing dog. We're going to move straight into our second side. I'm going to move around so that I'm facing you. Downward facing dog. This time lift your left leg skyward. Bring your knee to your nose. Root your left foot between your hands. Root down to rise up into crescent lunge. And transition into warrior two, second side. So you know where we're headed. Reverse your warrior. Let's flow together first. Side angle. Warrior. Reverse your warrior. Side angle. Extended full side angle, right hand to right hip. Bring your left hand down to your mat or to a block on the inner edge of your left foot. Open through your heart, extend your right arm skyward, turn your gaze towards your fingertips, and play with bind if you want that to be a part of your practice today. Take another breath. Before rising all the way up, reverse your warrior or your triangle, and exhale into triangle pose. Right hand to right hip. Extend through your front leg, draw your torso forward, then bring your left hand down to your block or to your mat on the outer edge of your foot. Make sure your right hip is not jutting forward, draw it back. Then extend your right hand skyward. Breathe deeply in triangle pose. Take one more breath and rise up. Reverse your triangle and exhale into warrior two. From here we get to play with our peak pose half moon. second side. So let's do this together. You already know where we're headed. Have a block out in front of you or a wall. Root down, set your foundation. Get strong through your legs, to your core, warrior two arms. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Step your back foot forward and bring your left hand down to your block. Get strong through your core. Lift your right leg skyward. Open through your heart. Get strong through your legs. Engage your toes. Press your lifted heel back. And if you want to play with lifting your arms skyward, extending your fingertips to the sky, maybe gazing at your fingertips. If you toffle out or wobble, that's okay. Step back in when you are ready. Breathing, and then gently step back out of half moon into warrior two. Reverse your warrior or your triangle and come back to warrior two. Nice work. Go ahead and take a moment to play with half moon second side one more time. And you can do this on your own. Have fun playing with this pose. You might notice your second side feels different than your first side. Notice with curiosity and without judgment. And if you step out of your pose, that is okay. Just meet back in warrior two, or if you're in half moon, take one more breath. Meet back in warrior two. Take a deep breath here. And then gently windmill down to your mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Walk your dog out. And lower your knees to your mat, coming into cat-cow. Offer your body cat-cow, any variation that might feel good in this moment. And back in neutral spine, come all the way down to your sits bones. And let's start cooling down. Lay all the way back in supine, coming to your back body. We're going to move through bridge pose and supported bridge, so make sure to have a block next to you. At any point you can grab your socks or sweater. Maybe wait for your socks until after bridge pose. Root your hips, your shoulders into your mat. Root your upper arms coming into robot arms. Root down, get strong through your core and lift your hips using your glutes, your pelvic floor, and your core muscles. Breathing deeply. And gently lower your hips back down to your mat. Let's do that again, this time with a supported block. Root down, lift your hips high, place your block under your sacrum. When you're ready, lift your right foot high, extending your right leg skyward. If you feel stable, lift your left foot high. Your hands can grasp the sides of your mat. Supported bridge. This is a great variation of legs up the wall. You could do the same pose without the block and have your legs up a wall or a door. Take one more breath here. And gently lower your right foot down to your mat, followed by your left. Gently release your block from under your sacrum. Lower your hips. Then heel toe, your feet mat distance apart. Open your arms into T-pose. Windshield wiper your knees to your right. And then over to your left. Come back to center, four corner stretch. Bring your right ankle over your left knee. This is kind of like supine temple pose that we did today. Then using the strength of your core, lift your left foot off your mat, drawing your left knee toward your nose. You can even loop your hands around your left leg. Keep your toes engaged. And gently lower back down, second side. Right foot roots into your mat, left ankle to right knee, strong core, strong pelvic floor, glutes. Raise your foot, raise your knee toward your nose. Clasp your hands behind your right leg. Engage your toes. And when you're ready, transition to happy baby or any other pose that would feel good for you today. A pose we haven't done yet, a pose that you really enjoyed and would feel good in your body again. And when you are ready, extend your legs and your feet mat distance apart, coming into Shavasana, corpse pose, placing a blanket over your hips for more groundedness or under the backs of your upper legs to support your lower back. Extend your arms beside your body. Soften, release, and relax. Letting your foundation fully support you in this moment. You can stay in Shavasana for as long as you'd like or follow along with my cues. Let your breath awaken your body, wiggling your fingers and your toes, stretching your arms overhead. And when you're ready, curl over onto your right side. Using the strength of your arms, lift all the way into seated, meeting your hands at heart center. Each of you are worthy of love and belonging, just as you are. I encourage you to go into your day offering yourself your intention and that same intention to those around you. From my heart to yours, namaste. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.